So let's dive in to Cam Newton, Bill Belichick, and the New England Patriots. But let's start with the Patriots angle on this one and Bill Belichick, because I think this move is just classic the hoodie. If you think of Bill Belichick, you think of signing Cam Newton for the veteran minimum. That is, like, he dreams of doing this stuff. And I can't remember who said it. It was, I think I was reading a business book, and it was a line that I'll never forget. That the profit is made in the buying, not the selling. And I think we often think when we sell something, you sell your home and you sell it for $1 million. Some of you, $1 million, depending on where you live, $500,000, whatever. And you make six figures. You make a lot of money when you sell your home. Well, the reason you're making all that money is not because of what you're selling it for, it's what you bought it for. If you buy a home for $100,000 and then 10 years later sell it for $800,000, the reason that home is so profitable is because of what you bought it for. And it's also the reason where it's hard to fail. When you don't spend much money on something, your wiggle room for mistake on that is huge. It's why you're seeing all these mergers and everything happening right now just in the business world, because everyone's trying to mitigate their losses. You can buy right now for really, really cheap. It's why the stock market 3 months ago when Corona hit, it's like Tony Robbins says, stock market is the only place when things go on sale, people run. If I tell you there's a sale at Nordstrom's for 50% off everything in the store, the line would be a mile long, even in Corona, right? Everything. If I sell, hey, you can go to the Mercedes dealership and buy cars, everything's half off. People would be lined up. But when it comes to football players, just like when it comes to certain businesses, the stock market for sure, people get scared, right? When you've hit your low mark. And you're not like Peyton Manning at 38, 39 years old in your shot, even if you're like 30. And injuries are usually a major red flag. And when you can get a guy like Cam Newton, who's won an MVP, but to me, that was years ago. It's more, this guy's a blue chip talent who the last 2 years, and really year and a half, his year in 2018, they were 6-2 and he threw 15 touchdowns and had 4 picks. And he was playing well. When Cam Newton has played well, simply put, his team wins. Period, point blank, end of story. He is one of the most physically gifted quarterbacks the league has ever seen. I've stood by him. He's a physical outlier. I mean, he's a freak in a league of freaks. And he's one of the freakiest of freaks, right? He's a monster. Now, his shoulder last year had issues. Or I guess 2 years ago had issues. So when your shoulder starts having issues and you're a pitcher or you're a quarterback, it's a problem. And this year he had the foot, which is also a problem because he's a running quarterback. But just on the Instagram videos you've seen, he looks relatively healthy. Now, that is not playing football. But the one thing Bill Belichick is the best at is patience. And we all try to have it. The older you get, I think you mature. In my 20s, I was the most impatient human you've ever met. I bet a lot of people agree when they're young, they're really, really impatient. And I don't think I'm still can be really impatient. I just know now in my mind, take a deep breath, relax. Definitely in any sort of business deal where there's a lot of money, whatever relative to what you're doing is on the line. Patience is always a strong suit, right? The strongest person at a negotiating table is the guy willing to walk away. The guy who's not desperate. And for whatever reason, and part of it is he's won a lot, but I think it's kind of in his personality. You see the way he carries himself on the sideline. I mean, it was on full display on that Russell Wilson pick. Everyone's freaking out. I'm squirming on the couch, and I don't even care who wins the game. We're all just on edge, the anxiety in our body. And the one guy who was not freaking out was Bill Belichick, the guy who was poised to lose the Super Bowl and had a front row seat. He didn't freak at all. He just looked across the sideline, saw Pete Carroll, saw them all freaking out, and just took a deep breath. Put Malcolm Butler in there. The rest is history, right? And I think that kind of symbolizes what he's like as the leader of the Patriots from a GM business standpoint. They never overpay anybody. Hell, they rarely pay people, especially in the free agent market. The one time they did, Stephon Gilmore became an All-Pro. Now, I also push back on the notion like, he never pays anybody. That's not true. A lot of guys get second contracts for Bill Belichick. Richard Seymour, Logan Mankins, Rob Gronkowski, Julian Edelman, McCourty, obviously Brady, They've paid good corp. I mean, they've had Slater forever. Now, they don't pay top of the market. They're never going to pay Amari Cooper 5 years, $100 million. But he will pick his spots. Now, ideally, he wants to find a guy for nothing. Because, like I said, the profit is in what you buy it for. And with Cam Newton, there is no risk on this. It can only go well. Because if Cam Newton is good and they make the playoffs with Cam Newton as their starting quarterback, they got a starting quarterback for the veteran minimum who has been a playoff quarterback countless times, who has won playoff games, who just, if you watch him and he's healthy, can be the best player on the field at any given moment. He got him for the veteran minimum. Now, he was a little lucky. Corona hit. No one could work him out. No one could get him on physicals. He benefited from the last several years. This huge influx of young quarterbacks came in. Now, we don't know if they're all good, but the Browns, who I also read were interested in Cam, why would Cam go to the Browns? Baker Mayfield was drafted 2.5 years ago. He's going to be their starting quarterback. Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, these guys are starting. That's just a fact. And then you have the group of older quarterbacks that aren't budging. They're just limited options. And Belichick pounced. And the timing of this, clearly there was another story where the dude was filming. He claims for Patriot.com. A little sketchy. Listen, I've defended the Patriots with Deflategate, with Spygate. That one's a little sketchy. And they got docked a third rounder and over $1 million. And there was a timing. Listen, Belichick's playing chess. You notice every coach is always talking. He never says anything because you never really know what he's doing. It's why when everyone tries to act like we know what the Patriots are going to do, we always have no clue. And then boom, they just pounce. You're like, oh, of course Belichick's thinking that. He just lays low. He just lets Nike and Linda do their work on social media. And then boom, he does something like this. And like when all the love for Stidham, they really love Stidham, they might. They might really like Stidham. I actually don't think Belichick, like I'm ranting and raving how they could be really good. I don't think Belichick thinks like that. He just goes, I get a talent for veteran minimum. See what he's got. Come in here and compete. I've never said anyone's going to be our starting quarterback. I don't know if Stidham is. I don't know if Hoyer is. I don't even know if Cam's healthy. If he is, he should be, but who knows? Can he learn the offense? Do we have to adapt the offense for him? Have we wanted to change the offense? Because that's something they've been talking about for a while, to get a more mobile guy. And why this makes the most sense is not because of like Cam and Josh or it's just money. The NFL, I say this all the time, sports are a business. Like Garrett Cole, the Yankees paid $300 and whatever million for him. If he's not making all-star games every single year and competing to win Cy Youngs, that's not worth it. Bryce Harper did not make an all-star team last year. Hit 35 hollow home runs. It's not worth it. Manny Machado is all but irrelevant with the Padres. Now, I get it's a different sport, but Amari Cooper, now that he's making $20 million a year, can't be catching 75 balls a year. If he's not catching high 90s and being a, maybe not an all-pro, but a consistent Pro Bowler, contract's not worth it. He's got to be a borderline star for that contract to be worth it. But when I pay a guy nothing and I can get a starting quarterback at veteran minimum, even if the incentives kick in, it's worth every penny. It's why when the 49ers signed Richard Sherman to basically not very much guaranteed, huge incentives, it's like, whatever, we'll take it year by year. Now it's worked. Sherman the second year, second team All-Pro, they make a Super Bowl. But the reason that deal made so much sense is because they weren't financially indebted to him. And definitely with the quarterback, if Cam Newton is just shot physically and it's over, they just cut him. They will just move on. Now, if you had told me they had signed Cam for $10 million guaranteed, I'd go, yeah, there's some risk. There's some inherent risk in there. What if he's not good? What if he can't learn the offense? What if his shoulder is not right? But that's not ever what he does, because he just looks at this unemotionally. Well, fans, myself, we get high and we get low. Belichick never is. He's just constantly a flatliner. And he looks that way with players. Cam Newton's just a guy who's been really good, who's talented, that they think might fit in the scheme. Maybe they think that, maybe they don't. Maybe they just view it as like, hell, it's veteran minimum, who cares? Maybe that's how they're looking at it. But I don't know if he's going to be a starting quarterback. I don't even care. Just bring him in. Just price is too good to pass up. And ultimately, Cam didn't have any leverage because nobody wants him. He doesn't have a contract offer. But this is the Patriots. And what's cool, from my standpoint, is it's a huge, huge story. This is, I think, what most of us for the last couple months have just been missing about sports. These cool-ass stories that happen. Big trades, big cuts, big free agent signings, big wins and losses, like in playoff games, like in the NBA or whatever, major golf tournaments. We just missed it. And for the first time in a while, because even the announcing of the leagues, like, let me know when they're actually playing. But Cam Newton signs with the Patriots. Hell, we don't even know if the season's going to happen this fall. But for the first time in like a month, I felt sports normalized a little bit. Like, yeah, that feels right. Cam Newton to the freaking Patriots. Let Belichick, the hoodie, strikes again. I've said it from the jump, man. This has never been a vacation. And the media and many people on social, just stay at home, just chill. Don't worry about your job. That's not the way the real world works. Achievers, successful people have kept their foot to the pedal. Cam Newton has been grinding. Hell, you see social media, stop working out. No more working out, guys. Brady, screw you. Cam Newton, I can't hear you. I'm grinding. All these guys are working. Coaches, players, now separately or whatever, but this has not been a vacation. And the last guy that would ever, I don't care if the world legitimately would be Belichick. I mean, he patented the phrase, no days off. I mean, he chanted that at a Super Bowl. Acted like he was going to go to work the next day. And he probably wasn't lying. Most of these coaches are wired like this. Most of these players are wired like this. And sometimes, it almost felt too good to be true like a month ago. Like, God, this would be cool. And then just the natural progression of the way this summer went, it was like, maybe it'll never happen. And then it happens. And it immediately makes the Patriots one of the most polarizing teams in the league again. What's up, everybody? My name is John Middlekauff, and I host a show for Colin Cowherd called 3 and Out on his podcast network. You can subscribe to wherever you listen to your podcast. I worked in the NFL as a scout for Andy Reid and Howie Roseman, and I've been talking about football for the last 7 years. If you like your football talk, raw and unfiltered, no BS, I'm your guy. Subscribe to 3 and Out right now.